Okay. Hi. It's my daily meltdown self-quarantining vlog. This is not the right way to do it. This is the worst thing I could be doing to myself. But this has happened to me so many times since I got disowned and disinherited. Like, I can't even. I'm a totally different person than from who I used to be. I used to be on billboards in New York City. I used to do soap operas in South America. I used to have so much confidence. And that's another thing. I think somehow, I'm not sure, but I have read about the scapegoats of the family. And they, there has to be some sort of subconscious feeling amongst the narcissistic family unit that they don't want someone to really succeed. I'm not sure. Anyway, my poor sister's going to be homeless for the rest of her life while my mom gives it all away to Randall Stephenson. I haven't gotten onto him yet. That wasn't my original purpose of blogging about this, but I'm going to talk about Randall Stephenson now. He married my aunt. My aunt designs costumes for Star Wars, and he married her. And this is my aunt. My own aunt did this to me. I always thought she was so cool. And I found out she's also a total jerk. Because she's the one who got her and her friend Nancy Burgess Holly to call me up. And I think they kickstarted the whole rumor mill, them and their husbands. But yeah, so she married this guy when she was 21 years old. He is Navy intelligence. He works something with computers and the Navy. He comes from literally nothing. We're not just, he has like, his family, bless their hearts. Oh my God, I'm part Southern. Maybe I am part. But anyway, he comes from nothing in Alabama. 21 years old, and he's marrying a woman who's almost 35 years older. My last Facebook texts from my aunt were that he was leaving her. And she probably put two and two together and realized, oh, I can inherit this money. And he didn't leave her. So they're still together. But this guy, I've never met him, only once. And it was after my granddad passed away. And he was like so weird. He kept insisting to give my grandmother a computer. I mean, that was his sole purpose, was to find her a new computer. And I was like, my sort of mentality, I was just like, I think my grandmother would be better off with an iPad because she's elderly and the whole typing and learning a new Windows system would be difficult for her. No, but they insisted. I mean, it was like watching a scene from Mission Impossible. And I remember him placing the laptop into my grandmother's lap and her just kind of like saying, I don't want this. So I think he was after her bank account information and seeing her net worth. And he also is now the one and in charge of my mom's Facebook and stuff like that. And it's just, so I think, so yeah, my mom has signed it all over to my aunt. And my aunt's 63, so she might live a couple of more, maybe 10, 15, 20 more years, maybe. She's pretty healthy. But so my mom, the narcissist, is so, like, has such a hard on, like, hurting their victim that they would rather give all of their hard work and money and legacy to a 21-year-old guy running around in tights pretending to be in Star Wars, marrying a woman in her 60s dressed like a Jedi. I'm not kidding. This is real. So it wouldn't be so funny if it wasn't so tragic because I have suffered so much. I wish my mother had never, part of me wishes my mother never had inherited this money because I still would have had my little family. But then part of me realized that maybe it should have happened because I got to see the real colors of who these people were. I know money is the root of all evil, blah, 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 but you still have to have enough to survive and thrive. And they're all surviving and thriving. And I just don't think I ever got enough. I don't I don't think I ever got over it. I think it just hurts your heart so badly, like, to know that your family, that you're gonna be one of those. And when I saw in New York City when they were burying all the people in the mass grave, I was like, oh my God, how many of those people were also victims of narcissistic abuse? It's very rampant here in the US. You see it more in the US than you do in other countries. I'm not going to say it doesn't happen in any other countries, but you rarely see Chinese homeless people or Mexican homeless people, because their families are united and they're taking care of each other. They don't have this American mentality of tossing your child out when he's 7 or 18 and then letting them, it's about family unit. Anyway, I've rambled enough. I'm praying to God that I get better. I want to snap out of this depression. I want to get out of it. That's another thing. It's the loneliness. This isolation, like... Oh, I want to say one other thing. This is really horrible. What happened to me after I went down to go help my mom out, and I was told I couldn't go to Thanksgiving dinner. I actually rented a hotel room, and I was just... after, like I said on my other video, I wish this was more coherent, but after I was eavesdropping on the phone calls and watching my grandmother's ways of doing things, she even had this guy that was selling the house. She introduced me as a guest. So anyway, seeing how much they wanted my mom, they were like kind of laughing about it, like my mom's dying. And I'm like, okay. So something in my heart didn't sit right. I was like, I need to be around here to make sure my mom's okay. These people don't care about her. They really don't. So I ended up staying in a hotel room and crying for over 3 weeks. And, because imagine going down to see your mom and your own grandmother's trying to get you... They tried to do something really creepy to me, too. This is really bad. Okay. All right. I'm rambling now. But, oh, yeah. So I went down. I was in the hotel room, and then I decided, hey, you know what? Maybe I should stick around here in Charleston. My sister and my mom are there alone. So they sold the house, and they put my mom into her townhouse in her home. And anyway, in the hopes, this is what their plan was. They were hoping I would go back, that I would see my mother and my sister alone. They were hoping I would go back there. And they were plotting and planning, I'm not kidding, on trying to get me institutionalized. So instead of saying thank you, nothing, or like, nothing, yeah. Granted, I have depression, and granted, it hurt being isolated and targeted and made the scapegoat. And they employed the silent treatment on me. The silence. I never got to get a reason why. Just ignore. And that, I've read about the silent treatment, and I have fallen trap into some of the bad things that happen when you are the scapegoat. I have had anger issues. I've gotten angry, crying. I've had rage, just frustration. And my grandmother was a PhD psych nurse. She had to have known. And then my cousin's husband laughing about how easy it's been. All we've had to do is ignore you. The silent treatment is a terrible form of abuse. It really is. Yeah, so I stayed down there, and I ended up getting mugged and down. It was a homeless shelter, and you can't just go into the homeless shelter. You have to wait. So I actually slept on the street out in front. And I didn't have to do this. But yeah, and then, this guy came up to me. Oh my God, he had his face covered, and he had, a pistol thing on, he had, a gun in his shirt. And I was sleeping, it was 3 a.m., and there was this nice there's a veteran, because at the homeless shelter, they have a veteran program. Wonderful veterans. Oh, they were just such lovely people, the men and the female there. And speaking of, and a lot of them were veterans from Vietnam, so it's kind of like these people were also ostracized by their own families coming back. But yeah, he let me sleep in the back of the truck because they knew they didn't have a space for me, and the truck didn't have a covering, so I was sleeping out there. And yeah, this guy came up with a pistol, and while they're enjoying their Thanksgiving dinner, I'm getting mugged, and I also got raped in Charleston. So, these people are just, I don't know. I want to get my life back together. I was doing fine. I was doing fine. There must be something about, I don't know. I don't think I ever recovered from it. I've read everything online about narcissistic abuse and scapegoating. It's a tough thing to get through, and I'm a tough person. I'm a really tough person. I'm emotional, and I'm a tough person, and like I can see this pushing people to suicide. It could very easily. Oh, of course it did. Like after these, I can't tell you how many times I've wanted to commit suicide, but I'm too afraid. I'm not gonna do that. But I love life so much. I do love life, so I don't want to commit suicide. Definitely not. But I have thought about it. I've had suicidal ideations. That's what it's called. But there's no way I could do it. No way. But when depression seeps in, that can also, I don't know. I have definitely rambled a lot. I want to get out and jog and cuddle up with someone and watch a TV show or something. Or just. Okay, I'm gonna breathe in and breathe out.